Welcome to our event in the framework of Working Group of Gender and Ethics of WBC RRI Net. Thank you for joining. If you are interested in gender equality plans in the Western Balkans, you can check our website as well. Here is the link. And if you want to add to one of your gender equality plans, or if you have any suggestions, you can send an email to me or to Elke that is on leave today. And you can also join the working group by filling this form here. Now I will give the floor to our speakers. First is we have Andjela Pepic from University of Banja Luka and Linda Cepani. Thanks to both of you for your time, because we rescheduled this event because the first time it was in June and the number of participants was not very high, which is okay. Today we have the same number, but it's fine because we're going to share this on our YouTube channel, so it is okay. Thanks to both of you for finding the time to reschedule the meeting. I'm stopping my screen sharing. I give the floor to Andjela. She's going to explain her experience with gender equality plans, and then to Linda. At the end, you can have some questions for them. I have a lot of questions as well, and I give the floor to you. Thank you, Andjela.
Thank you. Thanks, Bjorda. Hello, everyone. From my side, some of you I know, some of you I don't know. My name is Andjela Pepic, and I work at the University of Banja Luka, Bosnia and Herzegovina. I work as the head of the Center for Development and Research Support at the university, which is a central level unit dedicated towards supporting the entire university and its members in research projects, but also in the coordination and support actions as well within Horizon Europe. But my role here is more in line with what I do at the university as the chair of the Gender Equality Advisory Board, which is an advisory board established by the Senate of the university for the purpose of monitoring the implementation of the gender equality plan that we have at the University of Banja Luka, but also working extensively on its implementation. So
I think we lost Andjela a bit, or yeah. Now you are back. We can hear you now.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Is it better?
No, it was fine with your headphones as well, but I think it was just the internet connection. Plan was at the same time the desire of the university management to really work towards establishing a more let's say gender equality inclusive policies at the university, but it was also in line with the requirements of the Horizon Europe program for all public institutions to have a gender equality plan at their at least at their central level. So what we did through the series of the interviews with the staff of the university, but also through the quantitative check of the statistics at the university in terms of the gender equality, as well as the legal documents and backgrounds we had, we set the grounds for status that was at that moment in terms of the gender equality. So it was in 2020, 2021. And then we developed a gender equality plan for based on the facts that we found. So the gender equality audit, we established a plan with some key, let's say, objectives identified that are more or less in line with what the European Commission already proposed.
And we also had in parallel the establishment of the Gender Equality Advisory Board. So the Gender Equality Plan of the University of Banja Luka is active from 2022 to 2026. So we are somewhere at the, well, let's say at the middle of our implementation, or at the first third of our implementation period. And the experiences that I would like to share with you today are related to the challenges that we had in the implementation. So one thing is when you desire to have the change at your institution, and you then define this beautiful set of activities and measures, but then the reality comes in. So so we had this, and we have this beautiful plan with really tailor-made activities and measures that we designed for this period. And in the first year of implementation, one of our biggest challenges was the fact that it was only 6 of us from the Gender Equality Advisory Board, plus the Vice Rector for Human Resources of the university, and a coordinator for another gender equality-based project, Unigem, which is a project led by a TPO Foundation from Sarajevo, and it comprises of 17 or 18 universities from Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, and Montenegro. And the coordinator of that project, together with us and together with Vice Rector, worked on the implementation in the first year of the implementation period of Gender Equality Plan. So it was only 6 of us plus 2 other persons for the whole university, which we discovered soon it was kind of a mission impossible to have everything that we planned for that year really on schedule, implemented, and so on and so forth. So we designed this strategy of expanding towards the faculties and the Institute of Genetic Resources, which is also a member of the university, through establishing focal points for gender equality at each of the university member, and a gender equality team, which is actually the team that will monitor the implementation and the statistics and the data related to gender equality at each of the faculty or the institute. So that was our approach. So now we are in the, let's say, second year of implementation, and we already had one meeting with all the members of the teams from the faculties, where we kind of got to know each other more, and also got to know each other regarding the experiences in gender equality, but also regarding what can be done and within which period. So as of this semester, we will then continue working on the actual implementation. And we already had some ideas at this first meeting proposed by different focal points on how to implement which parts of the activities at their own units. So yeah, so this is in brief. So then the discussion can start.
Thank you, Andjela. Then maybe we give the floor to Linda, then we continue with the discussion and with questions, if that is okay for everybody. Thank you, Andjela.
Try to share my screen right now. Okay, so before I start, I would like to present myself as well. My name is Linda, and I've been part of the team that designed and implemented the gender equality plan, the first gender equality plan for the University of Tirana. And that was done under the Let's Get project, which was a Horizon 2020 project. It started in 2020, and it's going on. Now we have the second gender equality plan. The first one was just for 1 year, and the second one started in 2022. And the gender equality plan has been designed by this team with the support and monitoring of this project. It has been challenging, and I fully agree with Andjela about the fact that sometimes plans are nice, but implementation is difficult. And there were many challenges. And at the end of the project, there was we prepared a handbook which will be published soon. And on that book, we have included some tips, or some lessons that we learned from this implementation. So my presentation today will be based on what we have already prepared for that handbook. So yeah, I would start with just a definition, and I'm sure you all know. Let me try to. Okay. It's the Gender Equality Plan. It's a set of commitments and actions that aim to promote gender equality in an organization through a process of structural change. So the main point here is commitment, actions, and the structural change. So first of all, we worked with our stakeholders, and I will get back to it again a bit later, and to try to get their commitment. Then we prepared a list of actions, which was already published and approved by the high-level administration of the university. And we worked toward the process of structural change, which is a very challenging process because it doesn't happen in a day or in a year or maybe more. So for that, one of the things that we did was that we used this guide, which is GEAR, Gender Equality in Academia and Research tool, and it allowed us to structure our gender equality plan with a standard methodology. So these are some key factors that we think are essential for the implementation of gender equality plans in higher education institutions or in universities. The first one is political will, high-level commitment of public administrative institutions, improved technical capacity of civil servants and administrative staff, stakeholders' involvement, gender disaggregated data, training, communication, and networking. So I'll just go shortly and explain each one of them. So how to strengthen the political will, our lesson is that, so one actual example for what we used was the fact that the introduction of gender equality plan by the European Union Commission is now an eligibility criteria. So what we did, we used this, it was good. We used this to ask for the support of our rector in the university or the administrative structures and the leadership in the university. So another strategy that we used was to make some one-to-one meetings, which involved the local team of the project and the political leaders. So it was the coordinator of the project and the main project, the coordinator for the project in the University of Tirana. And that was a small meeting with our rectors, with the leadership. So it was one-to-one meetings before we started to write our actions and in the plan. And in our meetings, we try to include as more representatives of the Ministry of Education and Sports and the National Agency for Research and Innovation. So we involved them since in the beginning. We invited them in the first meetings, and then we try to keep them involved throughout the project. So the second one would be high-level commitment of public administrative institutions. Yes, as I mentioned, they were invited in our first meetings. And the other thing that we did is the appointment of a gender equality focal point. That was at the university level, and it was a bit hard. And I also have a question afterwards for Andjela about the gender equality focal points they appointed for faculties, because this was an idea that we had to have a gender equality focal point in faculty levels as well, but it looked a bit challenging. That's why maybe we can discuss later. We appointed a gender equality focal point at the university level. We supported the administration with the job description, and we supported this new guy. He's a guy, and we involved him in our meetings and in our discussions from the start. So another thing would be improved technical capacity of civil servants and administrative staff. In the beginning, we had, so the first JAP was developed by a team of well-known professors. And we also involved a wide range of researchers. Then, step by step, we tried to involve more academic staff. It was a bit hard to involve them because they considered this as an extra job. It wasn't part of their job description, and so it was very difficult to get to take them into our meetings. But we did our best, and with some awareness, we're trying to raise awareness and trying to involve them in our trainings. So we prepared specific workshops for data collection and gender budgeting methodologies as well. So as regards stakeholders' involvement, there's a lot to say here. I would just try to keep it short. We use this kind of mapping. So this is from the Wagner the source, and it's how to map stakeholders' participation and involvement. As you may see, there's we try to reach out for our internal stakeholders in the university, external stakeholders, and with external stakeholders, we included both external stakeholders which were national, so from Albania, and we also tried to involve international stakeholders as well, and that was at the project level. So so we had to work in 3 directions, and the graph here, it's interesting. As you can see, it's the X, it's level of interest, and there's the level of influence. So we tried to focus on those stakeholders that had high level of interest and high level of influence, and that those ones were our strategic stakeholders. But there were also some stakeholders with a high level of interest, for example, some professors and researchers, but they didn't have this decision-making power in the university. So we try to keep them informed as much as possible. So even though they didn't have the level of influence, they had a lot of interest, and they were doing research. So we involved them in our trainings, in our workshops. We sent links of our meetings to them, so we try to keep them informed. And there were also some stakeholders which they had a high level of influence, but maybe they were not interested so much. We try to keep them involved. So we tried to ask for them to review our drafts. We tried to take their opinion about, because of the example, like for different policies we wanted to work at, or guidelines. So there's a lot of, we can say a lot about this, but maybe in another meeting. So we have the disaggregated data, and I think that's the most challenging and tricky thing. First of all, there's we prepared an analysis of the situation, kind of a gender equality auditing, let's say, to see what are the data that we are using, and if there is any tool to collect this data, or if there's any indexes. So we found out that we were missing most of the data, and we were not able to calculate certain indexes. So we had to work with statisticians helping us, and from the Institute of Statistics, just to find out how we could collect the data, what type of data, and especially the data that were aligned with the ISCED qualification. And then we had to work on those data, and we have a handbook, let's say a guideline that we use, that we have prepared for the administration in our university. So the people in the administration, let's say the human resources department, and the people that collect the data, they have this guideline, or this tool, let's say, and they know how to collect the data and how to classify them according to the ISCED requirements. Okay, so this is an ongoing process. It will never be good enough, and they will always need support, because it's difficult, and it takes a lot of time. So I think there should be some work on having some requirements to introduce these data into annual reports for monitoring and evaluation purposes. So yes, as for training, we try to the good thing about trainings, we had some trainings as a group, and then we replicated those trainings with the administrative people in the university. The good thing about training was that the materials were translated into Albanian, so it was easy to share them with people working in the university, so they weren't in English. We try to define our classes according to the training needs that we observed during the process. And we also used feedback questionnaires, and just to get some feedback from the participants, especially in the first times. As the last one is communication and networking, we use the participatory approach concerning stakeholders' involvement, and we also use some storytelling, dissemination, communication tools like videos and leaflets, so kind of practical tools for communication and dissemination. So yes, so this is you can find this in more details in this handbook, or you can email if you have any questions. Maybe if you have any questions now, I'm sure we will discuss them now. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda, for your great presentation. I think you had the question for Andjela first.
Yes. Sorry, just let me, I'm trying to stop sharing my...
I can do it for you, just a moment.
Okay.
Okay, yes.
Okay, so my question was about the gender focal points in faculties. were they professors or were they part of the administration team? And or were they doing something else? And this we had this problem with our gender focal point at the university. He was, and he is right now doing other stuff as well. So this is not just a specific position of gender equality, about gender equality.
Yeah, thanks a lot for this question. I assumed it will pop up at some point. Actually, all the focal points, we initially said that it had to be someone from the vice deans because of their authority and the ability to collect the data in easy manner, but also to organize things in easier manner. And then we realized that it is impossible because they are overloaded sometimes, and sometimes they are not that, let's say, aware of the topic. let's put it that way. So we decided to expand the decision by the Senate to also include the possibility that the main, so the coordinating person at the level of faculty, can be anyone from the teaching staff, but the teaching staff. And then for the team members, they comprise both of the teaching and administrative staff at each of the faculties. So in that way, we try to overcome also the overburden of persons who are already overloaded with so many things to do, but also to kind of have this mix, because all of them actually work also with other colleagues, with students, and they can communicate better. So this is still a starting point, and we still don't know whether and how and to what extent it will actually work in the implementation, because we only had one meeting so far. Most of the people who were at the meeting were really eager to work further on the implementation of JEP, but we'll see how it will actually, let's say, be realized in the next period. So as also maybe what I wanted to add is that we also had training events also for designed for all, both the teaching, the administrative, and the students. And the attendance rate was really high, which was quite surprising, given that it's something additional and it's not that hot topic. But we also faced some challenges in terms of the more conservative people attending and then making problems during the during the event. So, you know, there are different things that you can jump that you can have jumping on your back, you know, while implementing the gender equality plan. But I guess that's the matter of simply implementation. In any case, whatever you try to do, kind of in changing the institutional policies and the institutional culture as well in our countries.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we did have that kind of resistance as well, especially because the numbers in the University of Tirana do not show any gender inequality, because we have more female students, more female professors, and not professors, but the assistant, the lecturers. But you know, the ratios change the higher you go. So with professors, we have a different ratio. And that's why we had this resistance at the beginning, because people were telling us that there is no gender inequality at the University of Tirana, and based just on the numbers. But we know there's much more going on than just numbers. So
exactly, there's always a story behind the numbers. So
yeah.
Exactly. But let's see what what our colleagues who are here also maybe have to share or to ask, whatever.
Yes, please, if anyone has any question or would like to share something, just unmute yourself. Looks like it's an all-female event, like the first time.
Yeah.
But I have some questions. And I think one of you answered the question, but I was curious to know if the support from top leaders like dean of the faculty or other top leaders at your university made the difference in your gender equality work.
Yeah, if I can go with an answer, yes. In the case of our university, it was good because we, since the beginning, since the first signatures that we needed, we had to involve one of the vice rectors of the university. And he was very supportive during the process because he was involved since the beginning. So he knew since the beginning what we were doing, that he was in our meetings, and it was easier. It was easier having him in these groups and meetings. Of course, there were times we had debates, we had to argue the measure, especially when we submitted our first draft, and there were some actions that we had to change because of the discussions we had, but at least they were informed since the beginning of what was going on. This is our experience.
Yeah, on our side also, it mattered a lot because from the very beginning, I mean, we wouldn't even start the process without having a prior approval by our rector. That's for sure. So we had his support from the very beginning. Also, during the implementation period, when we faced these conservative, let's say, or resistance towards some of the activities, and even some of them complained to the rector, we had really support from his side, so backing us up in terms of, yes, this is the institutional policy, and yes, we want to implement it. So in that sense, yeah, it matters a lot, but it also for us mattered a lot because the vice rector for human resources was involved from the very beginning, and even before the beginning, because we worked together also on the development of the guidelines for the prevention of gender-based violence and sexual harassment at the university. So we had that document prior to having even JEP. So, and he was involved from the very beginning, and it's he. So I think it mattered a lot. So yeah, exactly.
Yes, Burçak, please. I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
Your experience and everything. So I'm in the Turkish research area, and I worked in WBC IncoNet before together with the TESI team. So it's a very good how can I say, gathering back again. What I would like to underline and get your opinions on is that there are also regional differences. So the universities, for example, in Istanbul, they are more doing research, and they are more trying to prepare their gender equality plans because they are competing with each other in that sense. But in the other side of the country, it's not really a priority because there are other facts. So how is it like in your countries? This is the first question that I have. And the other thing is, I think the triggering point is this Horizon Europe part. I've been given consultancy to Marie Curie because I worked as a program committee expert before. And in the last day of the Marie Curie submission, the poor researchers, they're just looking for gender equality plans of the universities, the hosting organizations, and it's not mainly helpful. But having this criteria under Horizon Europe, it helps the universities to think about it and to prioritize these strategies. And I would like to hear more like your experience on it. And thank you again.
May I take the first? Okay. Yeah, you're right about the regional differences, but also in our case, at least in Bosnia and Herzegovina, the universities function more or less the same. So it's a combination of teaching and research. So we all participate in Horizon Europe. So we are all obliged. I mean, at least the public universities, but also a lot of private ones, because we have this Unigem project. This is why I know. A lot of private ones also have their JABs established, which is also, I think, a positive thing, even though it's not required for them to have JAB in order to participate in Horizon Europe, because they are not public institution. And I think that's a positive movement in terms of a cultural shift, let's say, in those terms. Second question was more related to the Horizon Europe, right, requirement. So actually, I think that's good that it is a requirement, just for the sake of having a backup argument. If this first one of genuine wish to, have institutional culture a bit improved and changed and so on and so forth doesn't work for some people, then this obligatory part will work, because wherever there is money, people will consent to a lot of things in order to get the money. So I think that's a combination of the two. So the genuine desire of at least some let's say, stakeholders at the universities or even in the country to change things for better. And then on the other hand, this requirement that comes as an addition, as a top one, let's say.
Thank you for the insight.
And Linda, would you like to answer to the same question as you wish?
Yeah, I was thinking that, for us, it helps, this criteria. The only thing is that universities should think that this is not just a paper that they have to publish on their website. So we do have the gender equality plan. It's a plan to be implemented. And I think that it's now time for us to think of monitoring and evaluation tools, and to see how these universities are implementing, or are they even implementing what they have written on that paper. So yes, I think there's room for that, for gender equality auditing and the auditing of gender equality plans. So there's still a lot we need to do about that. And also there's I think gender equality plans should also involve some gender budgeting elements, because if money is involved, everything becomes more challenging. So if we put some actions and measures in the gender equality plan that require for some money, it's very difficult to get those actions approved. So as long as it's about workshops and trainings that we don't need any money, that's easy. But if we need for some, if you need, or in general, I'm speaking, if there's the need for some funding to do an activity, or if there's a need to do an analysis of our budgets in the universities and see where the money goes, is it the way we are distributing funds, is it helping women, or is it how we are distributing the funds, so it will become more difficult. So this is just the first step we are going through, just thinking that we need to have a gender equality plan and trying to design it, but there's more and more involved.
Well, there are also like a really big focus on this Horizon Europe again, like extremist movements in gender equality, radicalization and gender, and all these kind of like funds are currently available. And it also attracts kind of like attention of the universities lately. So I hope it's going to be really remarkable in all the strategies that different universities in different countries are really prioritizing at this stage.
Thank you.
Dear friends, if I can speak, my name is Elena Mohrusov. I represent the State University of Physical Education and Sport from Republic in Moldova. We are from Chișinău, and for us, this project supporter is something very, very, very big news, because in Moldova, as I said in our first face-to-face meeting in Strasbourg last week, it's very, very poor experience for Republic of Moldova. If, for example, 5 years ago, the situation started to be much better with the gender equality, managed positions, and even in Parliament of Republic, even in ministers. But now, after these 5-6 years, the situation starts to be again, most of them are men. And if I want to say, as I said in Strasbourg, we have too much women, very clever, hardworking, but the problem is it's same on these days. It's most of them are men. And first question of our rector when we did the JEP plan, it was for what? Why do you need this? So as our colleague in today's meeting, she said that they need money, they need to attract the money for university, they need international projects, but JEP plan they don't need. And we did our plan with our colleagues. It was approved by Senate of our university, and I hope that with this support, as you said, workshops and many activities, it will be situation much better, and we will change, I hope so. But from our side, as a member of the project supporter, we will do our best. But really, they don't like, why do you need? And as you said, only on the paper, but not on this time. I think everything will be fine. And one more time, Andjela, I meet Andjela. It was a big pleasure for me. So many discussions and working together. And really, I am proud for one woman like Andjela. And as I said, as a joke, if we will not can do it by plans, we will do it physical. In Moldova, it's very good traditions over women wrestling. The women wrestling is better than men wrestling sometimes. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
And until now, Republic of Moldova as a country, she need something, this kind of project. Because as I said, and I will repeat again, most of them are men, and the situation starts to be more bad than before.
At which stage of implementation are you now, Elena, if I may ask?
This is a fourth stage, because the supporter project started from April 2023. We did the JEP plan. It was approved, I think, in May in the meeting of Senate. And we have power. We will do it. But JEP plan we already have. And as Ildi is our member of European Science Foundation, until the project will finish, it will be JEP plan supposed to be much better. And also we have to involve it, we have to approve it. I just Monday, I had a meeting of the European Table Tennis Federation of Republic of Moldova, because I represent this federation. I'm general secretary. I was a professional table tennis player before. And I was selected for the Gender Equality Committee in the European Federation of Table Tennis.
Very nice.
So I said them, and I said that we have like this project like a supporter, and the next step, I think after New Year, we will have some 2 or 3 workshops, which one I want to involve in the federation, sport federation, in the sport committees in the level of the city, capitals, and many small towns. I hope we will have lucky and everything will be fine. We will try.
Yeah. Natalia, you wanted to say something?
No, I'm from the same group of Elena.
Okay.
And I support everything she says. She's my boss in everything.
Thank you. That's very nice of you. I think we all face some common challenges. I mean, Balkan countries and Moldova, Turkey, we have some mutual cultural problems, I would say. But if Linda and Andjela did it, I'm sure that you will do it in Moldova. I have just one last question. What was the biggest challenge for you, and what is the top advice for the colleagues that are just starting to work on gender equality plans?
Linda, go first.
Okay, yeah. I was thinking that the biggest challenge for us remains the change of the culture, the change of mentality. We can change, we can make plans, we can make formal plans, we can make even guidelines or policies, but if we do not change our the mentality and the culture within our universities, nothing will be for long. So we have to think of the sustainability of our gender equality plans for these measures to give a long-lasting effect. And one advice that I would say that I didn't mention in my presentation is that we should also involve students. So it's not just about professors and researchers. If you get to involve students, they will give a different perspective and much more, and they will give very good advices because they have this vitality. And I can remember some students coming to our meetings, and they just showed up there to say what they thought about it, and it was very motivating. So, and I know in most of the actions should involve students as well, not just researchers and not just professors and not just the administration of the university, because in the university we work with them, we work for them, so it has to include them as well.
Yeah, well, Linda now took one of my challenges. So definitely changing the institutional culture is one of the most difficult part of the whole endeavor, and especially when you face resistance, which can come in various shapes and forms, including the lawsuits. So just I mean, the advice from that comes that you have to be prepared for different means of working on the implementation, which will not necessarily always include aggressive measures, let's say, but more soft approaches, so that even the people who are more conservative don't feel it as an attack to themselves, because it's not, so it's just a matter of having more soft approaches rather than the clear-cut tough ones. So yeah, I would say that would be one of the suggestions, apart from what already Linda said regarding the inclusion of students, which I think is obligatory, and it's also a legacy towards the society, because when you include students, they are the multipliers. Some of them will stay at the university, some of them will have their life and career somewhere else, and they will spread that knowledge afterwards. So I think that's really important. So yeah, good luck.
Thank you very much. Do we have other questions from the audience? I think we are very precise on time. Thanks a lot for your time, both Linda and Andjela, and to all the participants who joined. But we have a very nice geographic range from Moldova, Turkey. I'm Albanian, but I live in Austria, so we are all around the world. Thank you very much for your time, and wishing you a nice weekend. And to Elena and Natalia and Burak, I wish you success in your implementation.
Thanks.
If you need any suggestions, please, you can contact us as well. And you also have the links that Andjela shared here for examples how our colleagues did it. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
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 Bye-bye. Thanks for your time. Bye.